I've studied the Instagram Reels from creative director turned viral video star Karen Cheng, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly what makes her Instagram Reels generate these kinds of results consistently so that you can take the same elements and apply them to your Reels. And no, you do not need to be a content creator or the most creative person in the world to take away valuable lessons from this video. You can be a business owner selling products or services just like me. But just before we take a look at Karen's Reels, first let's throw it back to 2021 Bella. Focusing only on trends, lip-syncing to chart-topping songs, and dancing terribly, much to the horror of my corgi Winston, I truly believed that following trends was the only way to be successful on Instagram until very, very recently. The problem with this is that to spot trends, you have to spend a lot of time frequently inside of Instagram to notice what everyone else is doing and to pick up on those trends early. And of course, the problem with this is that spending a lot of time looking at what everybody else is doing is the quickest way to zap you of all creativity and, more importantly, originality. We'll come back to 2021 Bella in a second, but first, let's have a look at Karen and how she avoids this issue by always being 100% herself. Every single one of Karen's Reels are original. From her how to get travel shots by yourself to this interactive I Love New York poster, her ideas are fresh, innovative, and almost every single one uses original audio. She typically doesn't use trending audio because, in her words, it can make your content feel very dated only a few months later. So she's avoided using trending tracks, and still she has managed to hit the 1 million follower mark. Now you might be thinking, but Bella, Karen is a creative director. She lives and breathes creativity and she knows how to use video like a pro. Well, that's what 2021 Bella used to think as well. Just look at budget airline Ryanair's Instagram Reels for proof that no matter how dry your business is, there is always room for creativity in your videos. What's scary about that though is that you often have to go against the grain of what everybody else is doing, aka trends, and stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing something a little bit different is often really, really uncomfortable. Trust me, I get it. This is exactly what I did in January 2022 when I decided that I was going to start including characters in my Instagram Reels. The first one is Annabelle from Content Planning Professionals. She is the type A version of me. She always has 2 weeks worth of content planned and ready to go. She's super organized. She doesn't procrastinate. By bringing this character into my Instagram Reels, I instantly made my content more interesting to my viewer because they didn't just have to look at me throughout the entire reel. And I could address my ideal client's problem by playing the role of my ideal client and playing the role of Instagram strategist, a really great way to show off my expertise. Karen does this really well, not by bringing imaginary characters into her reels, but by usually having somebody else in the reel with her. Whether it's Will Smith, whether it's some friends recreating Squid Games, or whether it's a fellow creative. Karen knows that 2 people are better than 1, and it's a much better way of keeping people hooked on your Instagram reel. Now, you might not believe me when I tell you this, but for a long time, Karen was struggling to grow on Instagram. And then in less than 2 years, she went from 9,000 followers to 1 million followers. And in her words, there was one change I made to my content that made it start taking off. I started showing the behind the scenes instead of just the polished final video. There can be a tendency left over from the perfect polished Instagram grid of a few years ago that showing the messier behind the scenes content takes away from that ideal vision that a business or individual wants people to see. Almost like pulling back the curtain and finding out that the Wizard of Oz is in fact a con man from Nebraska. But here's the thing, people want to see less of the perfect and more of the process, so don't be afraid to reveal your secrets because they can really set you apart from the competition. That's another lesson that 2021 Bella is bringing into 2022, sharing more of the magic that goes into running my business, developing my services, and creating my products. And you can do that too, just like these reels from Sibri Studio and Wildflower Design. Now, something that Karen has nailed exceptionally well is the hook of her reels. Every time you click onto a reel, you are instantly curious. You want to know the answer to her question or how she rose to the challenge that she poses at the beginning of her reel. When I see trying to recreate The Matrix on a budget, even though I have zero interest in the Matrix franchise and the films, I'm really intrigued to see exactly how she managed to do this. Even in this talking head video, which is one of Karen's simpler type of videos, the hook, How I Get My Ideas, is incredibly eye-catching because it tells us that Karen is going to reveal the secret source behind her success and give us some golden nuggets of wisdom that we can apply to our own lives and business. And that brings me onto the major reason why Karen Cheng is a viral video sensation. While her content is completely one of a kind and uniquely Karen Cheng, she is always thinking about the end viewer and what they will get out of her content. She's always asking herself, how can she entertain, inspire, or educate in 30 seconds or less? How can she teach them something new in an interesting way? And that should always be the question you're asking yourself when you're planning your Instagram Reels. You don't have to strap a drone to a fishing rod or create a piano on Instagram stories, but how about, rather than always going for the easiest option of sharing 3 tips on the screen while a trending track plays in the background, why not think about a more creative approach, one that will set you apart from the competition and attract more of your ideal followers because you aren't doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. Just look at this example from a wedding photographer. It's simple, but it is creative and it is different. See that? That's 2022 Bella, brainstorming ideas for her next Instagram Reels and then thinking about how she can make them more interesting with the addition of some different angles, some transitions, or some B-roll. Because if you're going to make Instagram Reels that are more than 10 seconds in length, like Karen often does, you want to make sure that there is something in there of interest, like a transition or some different angles. When your followers see the same face or the same subject on the screen for multiple seconds at a time, it gets boring, and they're much more likely to swipe away to get something a bit more fast-paced and a bit more interesting. Don't give them the chance to do this. You can use characters in your reel, film yourself from a couple of different angles, include B-roll to visually represent what it is you're talking about, jump cut or zoom to emphasize the point you are making. Include an easy before and after transition with the click of your fingers, the clap of your hands, or the flick of your phone. Or just make sure that your reel has at least 2 or more photos or videos in it if you are not featuring in that reel, to make it as visually engaging as possible. If you've been inspired by Karen Cheng's Instagram Reels, why not make sure that you're not making any other Instagram content mistakes that 99% of people are making by checking out this video right here next.